Hello everyone, I am Sanjay Gupta and I welcome you all on Sanjay Gupta Tech School. So we'll wait for a couple of minutes so that folks can join and then I will be starting today's session. Hello everyone. So as you can see, today's topics are we need to check how we can create duplicate and matching rules. Then we need to see how we can use activities component. Then we'll see audit trails so that we can see the backlog, like which user changed what, and feed and field history tracking. So these are the topics which we are going to discuss today. And before starting the session, I just want to update you. I updated the FAQ document. So I documented all the questions, those are asked by you in yesterday's session, along with the answers. So if you have not gone through with that FAQ document, so you can just review. I'm updating that on daily basis. Yes, Shreya is asking for day one session recording. So like tomorrow, we don't have any session. So I will be re-recording that and it will be available to you by the end of tomorrow. So many people are asking for that recording. So I will be re-recording and it will be available because it is day one session. So it is important. Okay, so let's move further. So this is me taking your sessions daily, and this is our day seven. Then I hope you are following all the virtual learning best practices. So just want to tell you like go and check FAQ document where all the questions those you ask on daily basis, so that I recorded along with the answers. And I hope you are practicing day wise exercise as well. And I can see like lots of people are asking doubts while they are practicing, so this is good. And I'm trying to reply their I'm trying to reply on their questions as much as I can. So keep doing these things every day so that you can build strong foundation, because like if you learn properly, you will be able to clear the certifications, and basis on that, your knowledge and certification will bring you a role in Salesforce ecosystem. So this way, we are running sessions on daily basis. First, I explain the topics and do the demo, and then you ask all the questions. So please subscribe, follow, and share. Share as much as you can, because if I take you to the slide, so uh, if we see the slide, so this slide I showed you in the day zero session, like I just launched this boot camp in that day zero session, and I told you like week by week we will be learning different concepts of Salesforce. So you can see how quickly time flies. We are about to complete our week two today, right? So week one is already completed. We are in week two, and today we are able to wrap our all admin related concepts which are useful. And next week, we will be learning about reports and dashboard. So I hope you can share or pass these words to your friends, colleagues, juniors, seniors, like those who want to switch to Salesforce ecosystem. They want to begin their journey. So they can start from next week as well, because I just completed admin concepts. And I think those who are beginner, they are not efficient in upcoming topics. So you can see in week three, we will be covering reports and dashboards. So I will be creating day-wise exercise for that. Then in week 4, I will be covering data security, which is the most important topic of admin. And then we'll see end-to-end admin project. So week 3, 4, 5 are so much important for you. And then in week 6, 7, the powerful tool of Salesforce, that is Lightning Flow, through which we can build automation. Right? So just want to remind you the timeline so that you can have enough trust in me, because it is very important to have trust in the instructor, because there are many boot camps are running, but this is different because here I'm running this boot camp for almost 20 weeks, and in each week I'm going to cover a different topic so that you can learn Salesforce end to end, both admin as well as development. So moving further, sorry. So let's start with today's topic. So this is duplicate and matching rule. Welcome, Saritha. I just read you are from Singapore. So welcome to this bootcamp, and you can find all the details related to bootcamp in the description of each video. So we are following a session tracker where all the session related information is available, so you can follow that. Okay, so coming to the topic, so we have two types of rules available in Salesforce. So whenever you want to prevent creation of duplicate records, so for example, if you want to create student records, so as we created student object, we created its tab, and we can create lots of student records, right? So now there is a requirement, if you want to create multiple student records and you want to apply a check, like if there is two students whose email ID is same or whose phone number is same, or if their first name last name matches. So if you want to apply that kind of duplicate rule, so we have one option, that is duplicate rule. So it shows either warning or block record creation and updation in case of duplicates. So we have two options, either we can show the warning or we can block record creation or updation, right? So later we can create reports on duplicate records as well, right? So reports we will be covering in the next week. So in next week I will tell you like how you can create reports on duplicate records. And then we have matching rule. So matching rule says we need to set the criteria for duplicate check. So if you want to create a duplicate rule, so along with duplicate rule you need to create a matching rule as well, right? So both goes together. If you have created matching rule, then only you will be able to have your duplicate rule, right? So I'm going to show you how we can create duplicate rule. So here you can see we have this student object, and here we have lots of records already created. Now let's see how we can create duplicate rule. So you need to go to setup. Under home, you can search for duplicate rule. So here you will find two options. First one is duplicate rule and second one is matching rule, right? So here you can see first we need to select the duplicate rule option. So if you select duplicate rule option, so you will see these options available. So here you can see three rules are already available. So the rules which are already available, they are standard, right? They are standard, and they are created by default and provided by Salesforce, right? So if you want to create your custom duplicate rule, so that is possible. And if you want to create that, so you just need to click on this new rule option, and here you will see available list of objects, right? So we have account, we have contact, we have lead. These are standard and individual as well. Then we have class, instructor, STD class, and student. These are custom objects that I created, right? So it depends on you which type of like on which object you want to create your duplicate rule. Okay, so now I'm going to create duplicate rule on student object. So here you can see this interface. So this is important to understand. So first of all, you need to apply the rule name, like what will be the duplicate rule name. So prevent duplicate student. So this way I provided this rule name. If you want to provide any description, so you can provide here. Then we have object. So we already selected student as object. Then we have record level security. So it is important to understand. If I click on this help text, so it shows me this pop-up. So it basically explains the difference between enforce sharing rule and bypass sharing rule. So basically in Salesforce, you can apply data security. Data security means you can restrict access of records, right? So as you already know, we create users in this org, and you can restrict access of records amongst users. So uh, if you restrict access of records, then if you want to open up, if you want to share those restricted records by any chance, so you can create sharing rules. So here we have two options. We can enforce sharing rule and we can bypass sharing rule, right? So if you want to enforce sharing rule, you can select first option while creating duplicate rule. And if you want to bypass sharing rule, so you can select second option, right? So now read this help text. So it says, if you select enforce sharing rule, the matching rule compares only records that the user has access to, and the resulting list of possible duplicates includes only records the user has access to. So what will happen if you are trying to create a duplicate record? So duplicate rule will check the records which you have access. The records which you don't have access, so those records won't be checked for duplicate. If you select bypass sharing rule, the matching rule compares all records regardless of user access, but the resulting list of possible duplicates includes only records the user access to. Right? So if you bypass sharing rule, so duplicate check will apply on all the records, but you will see the records that you have access to. For duplicate check, uh, like this sharing rule will be bypassed, otherwise it will be applied. So it depends on your choice or business requirement. So accordingly, we can select particular option. Now, so right now we don't have any sharing and security applied. So if you choose anyone, that will work similarly. Now we have actions. So this is important. So in the slides I showed you, if you want to create a duplicate rule, so you will be having two options. One, you can allow duplicate record creation. So it will show you a warning, like you are about to create duplicate record. And if you don't want to create duplicate record, then you can select block, right? So if you select allow, so you can check alert, like if you want to see alert message. And if you want to create reports on duplicate records, so you can check this checkbox, right? So first option is for create and second option is for edit. And options are same, allow and block, right? And your alert text, you can write here. So it is standard. If you want to modify, you can. Right? So here I'm checking the checkboxes. So whenever we create duplicate record, so duplicate record creation will be allowed, but alert will be there. Now, if I go down, so here you can see we need to select the matching rule. So right now there is no matching rule available for this object, right? So before creation of this matching rule, if we go down, so here you can see we can apply optional condition, like which records you want to include for duplicate check. So if you want to apply any condition, you can, right? So it is optional. It will be depending on the requirement. Okay. So Let me just see if there is any question relevant to this. So I can see what is the real-time scenario where we'll be using duplicate rule and matching rule. So real life scenario is like if you are creating student record and you want to restrict like same student record won't be available twice. So how you can check that? Either you can check the email ID for duplicate, or you can check phone number, or you can compare the names, right? So it depends on particular field which you want to consider. Then which of both is recommended, bypass or the other one? So it will be depending on the business requirement, right? So if you want to include all the records for duplicate check, so you will bypass. If you don't want to include all the records, you just want to include those records which are accessible by the user, so you can enforce sharing rules, right? So I think I answered. So what is the use of duplicate rule? This is also answered. Is it mandatory to have activated either standard? Yeah, so it is mandatory to activate the rule. Otherwise, it won't be applied. Yeah, if it is activated, so it will work for bulk insert as well. Yeah, so enforce sharing rule and bypass sharing rule. So I can just show you this help text if you didn't understand. So you can just read it. So enforce means the duplicate check will be applied for only those records which you can access, the logged in user. And if you select bypass, it means all the records will be checked for duplicate if you have access or not. So this is the simple difference, right? So there is one more question, difference between matching rule and entry condition. So entry condition means if you specify any entry condition, it means if that condition fulfills, then only that record will be considered for duplicate check. If that condition doesn't match, then that record will be not considered for duplicate check. If the condition entry condition matches, then only this matching rule comes in the picture, right? So if you provide any condition here, so that will be the first entry check. If that condition satisfies, then rule will check the matching rule. If it matches, then only your like warning or error message will be displayed accordingly. Okay, so now I'm going to create matching rule and I will take the questions later on. So right now I'm just leaving this entry condition. I'm trying to create new matching rule. So see carefully when I will be creating new matching rule. So it will be saving this duplicate rule automatically. So save your duplicate rule and we will redirect you to create your new matching rule. So I'm just clicking on save duplicate rule. So duplicate rule will be saved and it will automatically redirect you to create matching rule. So here you can see we have on step 2 configure matching rule. Name is populated automatically. It is same as duplicate rule. Now here you can apply the condition, right? So we have several fields. So you can select any field whichever you want. So right now I am selecting name. So I want to restrict duplicate record creation basis on name. If two names matches exactly, so I want to prevent that record creation. So right now I selected allow. So it will give you warning. If you select block, you won't be able to create duplicate record having same name. Then we have match blank fields. So it may happen like you have two records where name is not available. So do you want to check duplicate basis on the blank fields? If you want to do so, you can check this checkbox. So it means you can have only one record with blank name. If you create one more record with blank name, so that will be considered as duplicate, right? So I am leaving it as unchecked and I'm just going to save it and you can see we can pick multiple fields as well if you want to have another field. And by default here we have and if you click on add filter logic, so you can just change it like one and two, or you can write one or two like that. So this like filter logic you can modify as per your requirement. So right now it is not required, so I am ignoring it. And here I am just clicking on save. So here you can see matching rule is created. Right now it is inactive. So if you want to use your matching rule, so you just need to click on activate and click on OK. Right? So once your matching rule is activated, so you will receive an email as well. You will receive the email, like logged in user will be receiving the email. Now, if I go to duplicate rule, and here is our duplicate rule, so I am opening it. So here you can see our matching rule is by default mapped because we created matching rule through duplicate rule. So it is available here. So all the configuration you can see here. So here you can see rule name is available, object is available, record level security is enforced sharing rule. Action on create is allow, edit allow. So you will see a warning, but you can create duplicates. Then this is our matching rule. Right now, this duplicate rule is inactive, so that's why it is unchecked. So if I click on activate, so it will be checked. And if I go to right hand side, so here also you can see these settings are available. Then matching criteria is also available. Okay. So this way you have all the duplicate rule options available. So there are lots of question like what is the difference between duplicate rule and matching rule. So duplicate rule provides all these configurations, whereas matching rule just provide the matching criteria for duplicate. So matching rule just contains the matching criteria, and other features, other options are available on duplicate rule itself, right? So now I'm going to activate it. So you can see a duplicate rule is active now. Okay. So now if I go to the application and if I try to create new student record, so here you can see we have a student record named as STD1. So now I'm going to create one more student record with the same name. Let's see what happens. So I'm filling this name and I just clicked outside. I just filled the name and I clicked outside. I didn't click on save or any other button. And here you can see it is showing you the warning. Similar records exist. This record looks like an existing record. Make sure to check any potential duplicate records before saving. And here is a link available. If you click on it, so it will show you all potential duplicate. So we have this S-0001. This is already available with the same name uh, with which I'm trying to create new record, right? So this way it will show you duplicate warning, but it is just warning. You can see this is the warning message because what we set in duplicate rule, allow on create is allow. So it will show you warning, but you will be able to allow duplicate record. So I am just clicking on save. Here you can see we are having a validation rule error. So I need to populate entrance code and then I will be able to save this record. So it is showing duplicate warning again. But if I click on save, so I will be able to save the record, right? So you can see a new record is created and now we have two records with same name. So this way our duplicate rule works. So I hope you understood the whole process, like how we can configure a duplicate rule, how we can configure a matching rule, how we can connect both, how we can activate them, and how we can create a record which is duplicate, but we selected action on create as allow. So that's why we are able to create that record. Now I'm going to edit this page and this time I am going to select block, right? And I am going to save it. So here you can see action on create as block, right? So it means if you try to create duplicate record, so you won't be able to create that. So I'm going to refresh the page. So page is refreshed and I'm clicking on new, clicking on next. So again, I'm filling the same name and I clicked outside. So this time you can see it is showing we hit a snag, right? And it is in red color, right? So this message is showing like you are trying to create a duplicate record and duplicate record creation is blocked for this object if that matching rule criteria matches. So we can just click on this view duplicate so that we can view duplicate records. So right now we have two duplicate records, 01 and 09. So both are available here. And if you click on save, so it is giving me validation error. So I'm just filling the values. It will still give me error, right? So if I click on save again and again, I won't be able to save this record, right? So this is the feature, this is the use of block feature that is available with duplicate rule, right? So I hope you understood this. Now, quickly, I'm going to take the questions. Just a request, please don't type uh, questions which are already being asked. And I think I already explained the difference between matching rule and entry criteria, difference between sharing and like enforced sharing rule and bypass sharing rule. This I already explained. Then I explained difference between matching rule and duplicate rule as well. One question is matching rule compulsory for duplicate rule? Yes. Without matching rule, a duplicate rule won't be working. Is it applicable for only primary keys field like student ID? No. So student ID that is auto populated and it is already unique. So you cannot use that. So auto number fields you cannot use. Record ID field you cannot use. Between these two, which one is better for duplicate record? So Sunil asked this question, so I didn't get your full question. Sunil, can you just type it again? Uh, so just defining duplicate rule is enough and we can avoid defining matching rule? No. If you are writing duplicate rule, so you need to write matching rule as well because through matching rule, you are able to check the duplicate value. Firstly, we should see the default duplicate to make sure that is not included or need. Yeah. So if there are standard duplicate rules available, so you can just see whether they are meeting your requirement. If not, then you can create custom. Is duplicate rule similar to primary key? You can say it won't allow you to create duplicate rules. So you can say, but not exactly primary key. Primary key concept is different. Will these duplicate rule also be valid on data upload? Yes. Then can we customize this error message or it is out of the box? Yeah, it is out of the box. Is the record type is different or created by user also different than it is impact on duplicate rule? I don't think so. It depends on whether you are able to access the record or not. So it will be decided by those two options, enforced and bypass sharing rule, right? Then Suraj is asking, are duplicate rule applicable on object with data type as text? So you can see, if you go to this matching rule, and in this matching rule, you will be able to see the fields on which you can apply. So I'm deactivating it. So right now I am not able to modify this. So whenever you clone it, so let me clone it, and here you can see all available fields. So auto number fields are not available here. I think formula fields won't be available here. So you will see a few type of fields where you will be populating values, user is entering the values, right? So those fields you can see here. So whatever fields are available here, Basis on that, you can check like auto number is not available, record ID is not available. So those you won't be able to select here. Then when we create any record in Salesforce, we get unique ID. So how we can say that it is duplicate? So Ashish, we are checking duplicate basis on other fields, not on unique ID. So we already know like IDs are unique and that is available for each record. But apart from ID, we are trying to match like whether two records are having same data in particular field or not. So this is our requirement. Like in real time scenarios, like if you are providing your information twice, so you will be having two student records with two different IDs. But we don't want to do that because all the information are same other than that unique ID. So why to have two records? So that's why we are applying this duplicate check. So Ramya is asking on which criteria you're doing duplicate rule. So we have to create matching rule. Yes. You were able to save the duplicate record by bypassing the warning. Yes. So bypassing the warning, because I just selected that option, action on create. So if I go to duplicate rule, so so here you can see we have this option action on create. So if you select allow, so you will be able to create record. You will see warning message. If you select block, you won't be able to create record. It will give you an error message. Okay, so let me take a few more questions. How many duplicate rules are used for any particular object, sir? So, yeah, limitation you can search on Google. Like I think there is limitation, so you can just search. Otherwise, I will search and provide that in the FAQ document. What is the better practice to using block or allow? So it totally depends on the business requirement, right? It is not part of best practice, so it will be depending on the business requirement. But the same student name, multiple students second be there, then how it will be? Okay, so this I took for example. So generally we won't be using student name. Instead, we can prefer student email ID or phone number, right? So that information which will be unique, like email IDs will be unique for users and phone number will be unique. So those you can pick for real time scenario. So I just took name and name as an example, right? It will be depending on the business requirement. Okay, so other examples. So I already explained you like if you take any other example. So again, you just need to pick particular fields where you are filling duplicate information, right? So I just picked name for checking duplicates. You can pick email, phone number, or any other field as per the requirement. Yeah, so Mary's asking like if two brothers are there and their email IDs are same, like they are using their parents' email ID. So what you can do, you can compare them with two fields then, like their name and email ID. So those should be different. So this way you can create some combination. If I have two duplicate rules, so first, like it will be checking one by one. Both errors won't be coming together. And uh, like as part of best practice, always create one duplicate rule for one object. Otherwise, it will be contradictory. Okay, so Roshan, like for this topic, knowingly I took the question and answers here because in today's session we have small topics, and if I take all the questions late in the end, so that will be total mess. So that's why today I just took the questions as I completed the topic. Manan is asking map means matching rule is mapped to some duplicate rule. Yes. Okay, this you answered for Ilyas, right? Okay, is there any order for the duplicate rule to give error? No. If you create multiple, so there won't be any order, Manan. So I think I answered all the questions. So this topic is now complete. So let me just jump on another topic. So next is activities, which is very easy topic. So under activities, we have four options: task, event, call, and email, right? So these four options are available with activities. So you can choose any option, whichever you want to use. So if I take you to the org and if I open any of the record, so on standard object, sorry, on custom object, you won't see any activity component here. But if I take you to the standard ones, so I am going to open sales application. So under sales, under sales application, if I open accounts tab, so here you can see lots of records are available, but in recently viewed, we have only two. If I click on any record, so here on standard object, you will see this activity component. And under this activity component, we have four options: new task, logger call, new event, and email, right? So these are like separate objects which are related to this account object. So like if you have created any account record in real time scenario, and like if we take example of any business, like uh, you as a sales rep is working in an organization, and in that organization you just created one account record for any other organization, and you just want to assign that account to particular user as a task so that they can follow up with that account uh, organization. So what you can do, just click on this create a task. Here you can fill some required information, like you need to follow up on call, then you can just decide due date, let's say 10th. Then here you can search information, and here you can search the user that is available in your org, right? Then you can choose the status, anyone, and then you can click on save. So this way, a task will be created under this account record, and this task will be assigned to particular user, and that user will get a notification email. So here you can see task related information is available. So subject, due date, priority, status, everything is available, right? So you can see task is available as a tab, so it is particular object. And if you go back to this account record, so here you will see these uh, activities under task, right? So similarly, we have logger call. So if you are like making a call with that account organization, and you want to make some notes here, so you can just create a record for logger call. So here in the comment section, you can just write whatever you have discussed with that client, and you can just save the record. Then if you want to create new event, like if you want to schedule some meeting for particular date, and you can select particular time, start time, end time, right? So you can create this event record as well. And if you want to send an email, so here we have this pop-up available. Here you can type to, like to whom you want to send the email, subject, and here like you can just enter whatever message you want to send, right? So here you can see this rich text block is available. So here you can just type your message and your email will be sent, whatever email ID you will be typing here. So like later on after the session, you can just practice all these things. So for standard object, these activity options are available, but for custom object, these are not available by default. So what we need to do, so just go to object manager, and you need to search for student object, And here you will see this option, track activities, right? It is not checked. So what we need to do, so if you remember at the time of object creation, I told you like some of the settings we will be checking later on. So this is the time we are going to check this track activities. So I'm just clicking on edit. And if I scroll down, so here you can see these are optional feature, and I'm going to click on allow activities. And later today, I will be explaining how to track field history. Then I will be enabling this checkbox as well. And next week, when we'll be working on reports and dashboard, then we'll be enabling this checkbox. So right now, I am enabling allow activities only. So I'm going to click on save. So here you can see this track activities option is checked, right? Let's see whether on student record we'll see activity component or not. So I just refresh the record, and here you can see activity component is available, right? So yesterday I gave you one task, like you need to place activity component on student record page. So now I think you will be able to do that, right? So if you enable that checkbox, so that component will be available on the record page automatically. Now, if you want to configure this, so you can just add it to your record page and you will see it. So I just added it, and at right hand side, you can see your activity component is available, right? And from here, you can also drag and drop your activities component. So if due to some reason on your record page, activities component is not available, so it is available here as standard component. You can just drag and drop it. So I'm just leaving it as is. So this way, I already demoed you like what is new event, new task, logger call, email. So all these options will be working same for this student object as well. So you can later on explore this, right? So this way you can place activity component, and this is important to know because one more feature that we will be discussing. So it's related, like uh, its related information will be available in another component that will be known as chatter. So with this activities, we will be placing chatter component. So whenever we will be enabling chatter related settings, so that component will be available here automatically, right? So moving further, now next topic is feed tracking. Okay, so we need to discuss about this. So let me just see whether there is any question. So there is one question: is it possible create duplicate rule using another way, like using workflow, process builder, or flow? Yes, we can create duplicate check through flow and trigger as well. Vinayak, answer to your question. Can we add activities to custom object? This I already demoed. Then so Simi is asking, are these global actions or object? These are object specific actions, right? If you want to see global actions, so global actions are available here. If you see this plus sign, so here you will find these global actions. So global actions are not related to particular object. So you can just click, and from here you can fill the information, and new record will be created. And let's say you are creating new event. So this record will be available under event object, right? So if you click on this plus icon, you will see all the global actions. Okay, so I think Suraj, I already answered to your question. From yesterday's exercise, now you will be able to place activity component, and chatter component will be coming soon. Like when we'll be working on this feed tracking, so you will see that chatter component as well. Pooja is asking if I add 10 user and I want all 10 user assign same task automatically. No, one task will be assigned to one user. And if you want to assign same task to 10 user, what you can do, you can create a public group. So we have a public group option, and then you can choose that public group so that you can assign one task to multiple users. So Mary, yes. So when you are creating custom objects, so you need to check that allow activities so that activities component will be available on the page. So Jaya Tushar, when you check that track activities checkbox, so it will be available on the record page automatically. So Smile, I am like clearing the doubts once I complete particular topic, because in today's session I have small topics. So I am just changing the format little bit so that I can clear the doubts immediately. Yes, Umka, you can say like this is similar to quick action, but this activity op component that is available on the UI, this activity component is object specific. And if you click on this plus, so these are global actions which are not specific to particular object. Okay, so I think, yes, Roshan, event and task has relation with other object. They are child for a particular object on which you are creating task or event. Thank you, Harish. So I will be mentoring 9 people. Those are assigned by Salesforce. Are you going to explain quick action, global action? Yeah, so maybe like when we will be working on flows, so there I will be using this action thing. So I think there I will be explaining them. Simi is not getting these options. So Simi, just to revise, like you need to go here and you need to enable this checkbox. And if still you are not able to see this, what you can do, go here and click on the gear icon and then click on edit page. And if you edit the page, so on left hand side, you will see this activities component. So you can just drag and drop it. So if you drag and drop it, so it will be available like this. Right? And if you want to have tabs, so first you need to uh, drag and drop tab, then only you will be able to place that. But as of now, just drag and drop activities. Otherwise, if you add it, I think you will be able to see that. You don't need to drag and drop it. Okay, so now moving to next topic. So next topic is feed tracking. So let's understand what feed tracking is. So basically, feed tracking enables to track changes of selected fields and related record fields as well. So if you want to track like who changed which field and sorry, what was the old value and what is the new value, right? So if you want to maintain a track of that change, so we have two options in which first is feed tracking and another is field history tracking. So right now I'm going to show you how we can enable feed tracking. And if you enable feed tracking, so you will see one more component on the UI, that is chatter component. And in that chatter component, all the changes will be tracked. So you will see old value, you will see new value, and you will see who changed that value, right? So let's enable feed tracking so that we can see how we can track the changes of particular field on particular record. So first of all, you just need to go to setup home, and here you need to search for feed tracking. So here you can see we have this option, feed tracking. If I click on it, so here feed tracking option is available, and we have list of objects as well. So for few objects, you can see for account two fields are already enabled. If I click on it, so Here you can see feed tracking is enabled, and we can just see the changes of these two fields only. So if you want to modify this feed tracking for standard objects, so you can do, and you can select up to 20 fields. This is the limit, right? And if you see at bottom, you can also select related objects changes. Now I am going to show you how you can enable it for student object. So here we have our student object for which feed tracking is not enabled. So here I am going to enable this checkbox. So I can just select up to 20 fields, right? So I am selecting age, I am selecting father name, name, Salesforce role, phone, email. So I am just selecting these random fields. So if you go to the exercise, and here you will see, I just mentioned apply field tracking on a few fields. Few fields means you can select any field for student, instructor, and class object. So I will be demoing you it on student object, but when you will be practicing, so you can enable it for three objects: student, account, sorry, student, instructor, and class. And let me just add one standard object as well. So you can just try it for account as well, right? So now I'm going to save the settings. So here save button is available. I am just clicking on the save button. So you can see your changes have been saved. So for student object, this feed tracking is enabled on 6 fields, right? Now if I come here and refresh the page, so we need to have chatter component here, which is not available right now. So I am just going to edit this page. So you can see on UI it was not available, but when I edited the page, so this chatter component is available automatically, right? So sometimes like Simi was facing this issue. So if you are not able to see activity or chatter component on the UI, so what you can do, you can just open any record and you can just edit that page, and you will see both together, right? Now I am moving back without saving. So now you will see both the components together on the UI. So here we have activity and here we have chatter, right? And we just tracked 6 fields. So here we can see the name of fields, right? So now I'm going to change the name of particular student. So here you can see I have name as std1. So I'm just going to fill as std2, and I'm clicking on save. So at right hand side, you can see under post section, here it is showing Sanjay Gupta updated this record. So this is the username. And here you can see it is showing which field changed. Field is name, and its old value was std1 and its new value is std2. So this way you will be able to see these changes. Now, this is kind of a chatter. So if other users accessing this record, so they can just hit like, they can just comment on this post. So this change is basically available here as a post, similar to like we post something on LinkedIn or other social media platform. So this chatter component is having similar behavior. If you want to share some update directly, so you can post here. So if I want to post hi and click on share, so you will see one more post is available here. So now we have two separate posts. This is one post, and below you can see the older post. Now here you can write comments as well, right? And if you want to tag someone, so you can just write @ and you can search. So I have test user, so I can tag and comment it. So this way, if you want to comment any user in the comment section, you can. And if you are sharing any update here and you want to tag someone here, you can. So this way you can post messages to this chatter component. So this chatter component is having multiple functionalities, right? So we can write any comment or we can post any update related to this record. So you can see all these changes are available onto this record. If I go and open any other record, so if I open this one, 02, so here under this chatter, you won't see anything, right? So chatter information are specific to particular record as well as activity. So both activity and chatter are related to particular record, and you will see that under particular record. And if you change any field, so that feed tracking will be available here as well, right? So I hope you understood the requirement. Now, let me see if we have any question. So Pooja is asking how to create public group. So to create public group, you can just search public group here. So you can create new public group and you can add users to this public group. So Sneha is asking what is the difference between feed tracking and field history tracking. So I just explained feed tracking. History tracking I'm going to explain after this. Feed tracking is enabled by default for some of the standard object, not for all. So from that list you can see. So Ashish, I already showed you the use of chatter component. It is for communication purpose for that particular record. So Sunita, field history tracking, I am going to show you after Q&A. So who will see these changes? Can we send email? So these changes uh, can be seen by the users who can access the record. So those users who can access the record, they can see all the activity and chatter related thing. So if you have access to record, then you can see the chatter, Mary. So basically, other users have to go to the record to see the changes. Yeah. So if you tag someone, so they will receive alert as well. So if you see at top right corner, we have this notification. So if you tag someone, so they will receive notification here. Chatter with external users such as client or is only for inner user. So if you assign a chatter license, so they can just interact with chatter. If you have full license of Salesforce, then you can see the record as well as chatter information. So Sheetal, I already showed you like and at top right corner you have notification bell. So if you tag someone, so if you log in with that user will be seeing notification in that notification bell. Yes, Mary, chatter is component, so it is not used for creating record, working with record. So there you can just post some updates only. Vishal, permission set we have not discussed as of now. Field history tracking, Rahil, I am going to explain. Can we edit name of existing list view? No, we cannot. How many maximum fields can be added in feed? So I already showed you 20 fields we can add. I won't be able to add chatter on master detail object. So you just need to enable feed tracking, then only you will be able to. Okay, so I think I covered all the questions, right? So now I'm just moving to next topic, which is field history tracking, right? So it will be interesting to see the difference between field history tracking and feed tracking. So let's first see what field history tracking is. So field history tracking enables to track changes of selected field. So it is similar to feed tracking, but changes are shown in the history related list. So if you enable feed tracking, so the changes you will see in the chatter component. But if you enable field history tracking. So the changes you will see in the history related list, and it will also show you old value, new value, and who changed, right? So now again you will be asking like when to use which feature. So it will be depending on the business requirement. So you as a consultant, you can show both the features to the client, and as per the business requirement they will say like we want field history tracking or feed tracking, right? So both are kind of same, but the changes you will see at different places. So now I'm going to show you how we can enable field history tracking. So if you want to enable field history tracking for student object, so you need to go to object manager. Then from here you can search for student object, just open it and click on fields and relationships. You need to click on fields and relationships, and you can see like while explaining creation of field, I explained you the use of new, deleted field, field dependencies, and I told you like later we will see set history tracking. So today is the day like we can learn about this. So I'm clicking on it. So here you can see we have the list of fields that we can track. So here we have two sections. For few fields, we can track old and new values, but for few fields, we can track changes only. We cannot see old and new value. And these fields are text area long and text area rich. So in these fields, we can have lots of information. So that's why we can track whether this field information is changed or not. We cannot see old and new value, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to enable few fields, right? So I'm going to enable these six fields and I'm clicking on save, right? Now I'm going here. Okay. Before that, if I open any record and go to related list, so here we don't have that related list. So what we need to do after enabling this history tracking, after enabling this history tracking, you just need to go to page layout. So I'm going to open fresher layout first. So here we need to add the history related list where we will be tracking the changes. So here you will see this option, related list. If you click here, okay, that related list is not available here. So if you want to see that history related list, what you need to do, I just missed one step. You need to go back to details and here you need to enable this option, track field history. If this option is enabled, then only you will be able to see that related list. So now what you need to do, click on edit, and from here you can enable this checkbox, track field history, right? So it is available under the details of this object. So I'm just clicking on save. So what I did, I just clicked on details and clicked on edit, and then I just selected this option, track field history, right? Now I think that related list will be available automatically. Okay, so I'm just going to select freshers record. Okay, that related list is still not available. So what we need to do, we need to configure the page layout. So I'm moving to page layout, opening fresher layout. Now from here, I'm clicking on related list. Yes, so here you can see this student history related list is available. Earlier, it was not available. So now what I need to do, I am just clicking and sorry, I am just clicking and dragging and dropping it here at the bottom. So you can see now we have three related lists and I'm clicking on save. and I placed it on fresher layout. If you want to place it on experience layout or student layout, like we have three layouts, I just modified this fresher layout, right? I didn't modify experience and student layout, right? So what I need to do, I need to go here and from list view, I'm selecting all freshers and I'm selecting this 05, moving to related and refreshing the page. So here you will see student history related list under related. So you can see now we have three related list. Okay. Now if I change something on the detail side, so if I change the name, let's say STD5, and I am going to change Salesforce role skill set, and I'm going to save this record. If I go to related, so you can see here we have this student history. So I just tracked six fields. From those six, I just modified two. Those I tracked. So name I tracked. So it is showing the name of user who changed, original value and new value. Original value means old value. And for Salesforce skill set, it is a pick list, multi-select pick list. So in that case also, it will like show you this entry, but original and new value won't be available. So for rich, text area long, and multi-select pick list, you won't see these old or new value. But you will surely see an entry so that you can make sure something changed in that field, right? So this way, if you enable field history tracking, so at this place, you will be able to see the changes, right? So if you enable feed tracking, so changes will be available under chatter. If you enable history tracking, so changes will be available under this related list. So Mary is asking, can you enable both in a new project and later change to use one or other? Yeah. So we can enable both at same time. So you can see for demo purpose, I enabled both. So you can see I changed name from Dennis to STD5 and role from blank value to admin. So both changes are tracked here as well under the chatter. So feed tracking is working as well as field history tracking is also working. Okay, so I hope you understood the difference now. If you have any question, you can ask. No, Bishal, it won't be impacting performance because it is a feature, added feature. So if you are not enabling feed tracking, still you can use the chatter. So if you don't enable feed tracking, still you will be able to use the chatter component. So So Keshav, we don't have any limitation. Like if you go here, so we don't have any limitation. So you can just try and check all the checkboxes. I think you will be able to. So there is no limit here. So I am checking all the checkboxes and I am clicking on save. Okay. So there is a limit. So it is again 20. Okay, Simi. So maybe you can reach out separately on LinkedIn or through other social media platforms, so I will be able to help. Vinayak is asking, is it possible to know how many fields are there in a particular object and which field are not used and which field are used? So, if you want to see the list of available fields, so those you can see under this fields and relationships. So all the fields are listed here. And if you want to check whether they are placed on the page layout or not, so that you can do by opening the page layout. So Divya, when to use feed tracking and when to use field history tracking. So this I already answered. it will be depending on the business requirement, right? So you can explain both the features to the client as a consultant, and then client will be deciding like which feature they want. If it is managed package, what about limitation field history? So if you are installing managed package, then the objects which are coming through managed package, so they will be already having field history enabled, right? So they will be applying the limitations by default. You don't need to, you won't be able to manage those. So I think it will be history tracking will be stored for 6 months. I'm not sure. I will check. This is good question. Like how long this history tracking will be stored. So I can remember 6 months, but I'm not sure. So I will research and I will be answering this question in that FAQ document. No, Sonu, we cannot. Okay, so you are asking about feed tracking. So can we show the parent feed tracking? No, we cannot show. This is not possible because feed tracking you can show on that particular record only. It cannot go to child automatically. Right. So now moving further, so we have one more topic that is set up audit trails. So it is very easy, but you need to know it. So it shows a list of changes done by user in the org in different components. So one can download past 6 month changes, right? So for example, suppose by mistake you have changed something, right? And your project manager or your team lead want to see like who changed that particular item. Uh, so what you can do under home, you can search for view setup audit trails. If you search for this option, so here you can see all the changes that we are doing on regular basis. They are available here. So you can see we changed student page layout. We tracked history for this field on, so everything is available. Then section like custom object, track field history, everything is tracked here. And then the username who is changing this, right? So all these information is tracked here. And if you see at the bottom, so we have this download option available. So you will be able to download this information, right? So this way, I hope you understood the use of view setup audit trail. So if you download, so it will be available in Excel format, right? And like when you have downloaded, so you can just explore who changed what in which section. So this way you can just explore. So this is all about today's session, and I have mentioned few um, exercises as day 7, so you can go through and practice. And I already told you those who joined late, like we covered 2 weeks today. So all the admin concepts we have covered so far, and next week I will be explaining reports and dashboard. Then we'll cover data security, and then I will be like explaining end-to-end project. So I have a use case that we will be implementing together. So I will be implementing in my system by sharing my screen, and together you can also implement. And in those sessions, Q&A will be together, like uh, as we did today. So this how to enable audit trail. So this is enabled by default. So now those who want to leave the session, so you can go. And next session will be on Monday. So I will be placing the link for that session in the sheet. So I'm now like checking the questions so that I can answer. How can we create users for X? You tagged one user in feed tracking. So this I already showed you in the day 1 session. Like if you search for the users in the setup, from there you can create new users. Yes, so this audit trail is by default on. Amir is asking what is restriction rules, scoping rules on object. So this we will be covering in the data security part. I will add these things, restriction rule and scoping rule. Do we have any audit trail field like we can set up in field? No. How to enable audit trail? It is by default enabled. Firoz, no, I don't see like address validation out of the box because we can see only three. Still, I will research like if there is any standard available, so I will let you know. How can we create users? Yes, Swargam, like how we can create users. So you can search for users option under setup, and through that you can create user if you have not created any user yet. So Sarita, if you want to clarify your doubts, so you can ask your doubts under the comment section of that particular video. And you can ask questions on LinkedIn as well. I just shared my credentials. So you can see, you can follow Sanjay Gupta Tech School on LinkedIn as well. You can ask there. But it would be better if you join the session and ask questions here. Otherwise, on that video, you can ask the question in the comment section. Yes, Amir, I already told you a restriction rule and scoping rule I will be adding in the sheet. We'll cover them. So, Swargam, I think those user won't be having Salesforce license. So you can create user with Salesforce license, then you will be able to tag them. Sure, Amir, I will be adding those features. Sonu, we can create two users with Salesforce license. Okay, so I think I answered all the questions. So thank you so much for joining today's session, and we'll connect on Monday again. Thank you so much.